Welcome back to the program. Now let's bring you some of our stories in brief. We begin with the President, Muhammadu Buhari, reiterating his commitment to bringing massive infrastructure development to the country and especially the southeast if elected the President of Nigeria in the forthcoming presidential elections. President Buhari disclosed this at the Dan Anyam Stadium in Owerri, Imo State capital, during the APC presidential campaign rally. More politics in Ogun State. Governor Senator Bikunle Amosun is warning anyone with intention of rigging to shelve the idea as it could resort to unwarranted crisis. According to Governor Amosun, elections should not be seen as do or die, but rather a game where the minority have their say and majority their way. Elsewhere, the People's Democratic Party, PDP in Oyo State, has assured teeming members of the party and residents of the state of its plans to drastically reduce youth unemployment when given the opportunity to govern. The governorship candidate of the party, Mr. Seyi Makinde, gave the assurance while speaking on the programs outlined by the party at some local government areas in the Okia-Ogun axis of the state. Well, let's get back to the Nigeria Bar Association boycott directive, which has entered day 2. The second vice president of the Bar Association, Dr. Fuluke Dada, joins us live in the studio. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
So let's ask the association, the group of people for a purpose and an alliance. But it seems that there is disunity considering the number of people that have refused to obey the directive issued by the association.
Well, unfortunately, we had a situation where some of our members decided to go to court. And I did hear some people say that the NBA should have advised the judges not to sit if they didn't want them in court. But
they can't control that.
NBA doesn't control the judges. And what we should be is a unified whole. You know, for quite a while, there's a little bit of apathy, and these are internal things that we can sort out. But actually disobeying the NBA instructions is a little problematic because, don't forget, NBA is a regulatory body. And of course, everyone, all lawyers in Nigeria really would have to obtain a stamp from the NBA. So we regulate our profession. We need to abide by the rules and ethos of our profession.
But doesn't it also show that it's like the NBA has, and especially the executive members, have taken a position perhaps other members do not agree with, and maybe even other Nigerians as well?
And this is understandable because as a people, we're bound to have our divergent opinions. And the decision that NEC took was really not an easy one, considering the fact that we owe a responsibility to our clients, to the people, to the community. We have to protect the rule of law. And how do you do that? You have to go to the court. But in a situation where we have a crisis looming, and of course, people would not all be on the same page. But one thing that is clear in all of this is that the NBA still has a lot of work to do in getting our people together. Because I think also, the problem was with the rush with which we had to do things. We had an emergency NEC meeting. Many of the members were not even aware that that was going on. So when the directive came up, we had to enforce it through the branches. So it's something that's not, that we really should work hard to really guide against in the future.
The fact that, I mean, the NBA chairman, the person of Usoro, is also undergoing trial, investigation by the EFCC. Do you think perhaps that has also led to the dissatisfaction with some members?
That may be true in a way. But then the NBA president is going through all of his personal problems, and I always say one thing. The personal problems of the NBA president or the CJN himself are their personal problems. Where it concerns NBA as a body is where we need to protect the rule of law. And that's where we stand. So people should try to separate the personal issues because honestly and truly the courts are there for you to challenge any action that you think has been unduly done towards you. So they can go to court. The CJN himself has approached the court. Paul Usora himself is in court, although arraigned, but the court is a process they can follow through. But I think that people should separate that from whatever issues we have as a body. That's my take on that.
Let's look at the issues of Justice Onnoghen's suspension. I mean, the CJN has indeed said that it is also the CCT that has the final say in this. And let's perhaps go back to what the president tweeted before the suspension. The third tweet says that although the allegations in the petition are grievous enough in themselves, the security agencies have since then traced other suspicious transactions running into millions of dollars to the CJN's personal account. The fourth tweet, he continues, it is worrisome that the Chief Justice of Nigeria's own written admission to the charges that he indeed failed to follow the spirit and letter of the law, citing mistake, forgetfulness. I mean, aren't you a little let down that Justice Onnoghen said to have admitted this wrong?
I'll just say simply that nobody is above the law. Even the CJN is not above the law. He's a citizen of Nigeria. And if he's been accused of any wrongdoing, it must be done the proper way. He can be charged to court for whatever misconduct. He can go to court to defend his rights. But I can say categorically that if the government actually has all this evidence against him, they can surely take him up on it. And we as a body, we are not against that. Even as regards our president, if it can be proved that he has done something wrong, it can be charged to court, but let it be done the proper way, because the law is not just substantive, it is both substantive and procedural. So if you do something right and you do or you get the procedures wrong, then that can be an action. There can be an action in that regard. So that's what we're saying. Nobody's above the law. If the CJN has committed this wrongdoing, let him be taken through the proper process.
What is your final thought on perhaps the NJC and what they've come to say, the ultimatum, the reply to the petition by all those involved, and also the NBA's position on the acting CJN as of now? Okay.
The NJC met, and I'm glad they did the right thing by asking the people concerned, that is the CJN and the acting CJN, to write a reply to all the petitions that have been written against them. Yes, because they have to be given that chance to defend themselves. But as far as we are concerned, the best thing to do in this scenario is to wait until they have given their responses, and then an action can be taken over them. But for the acting CJN, the NBA was categorical about it, that we would continue to recognize the CJN Onnoghen as our CJN until the proper procedure has been taken.
I'd like to thank you so much, Second Vice President of the Nigerian Bar Association, Dr. Olukedada, for joining us on the program. That's how we wrap things up here on Lunchtime Politics. From Channels Television, your home for the news. Many thanks for watching. I remain Millicent Walker.